I'm Pastor Jay. You know, in James chapter 3, it talks about the tongue. It says it's a little thing, but it can cause such a fire. It can cause so much problems for you. He says, like, in a ship. He talks about a ship. He says, it's got a little rudder, and it can move the whole ship everywhere it goes. And it's the same thing with our tongue. Sometimes we have this problem where we overload you can fill in the blank if you want to. It does overload us. In other words, some things we say, sometimes when we're rude, it can get us in a fight. We sometimes saying something we shouldn't say. Sometimes that's why Jesus says the meek shall inherit the earth. Why? He said because you won't have as much problems if you just sometimes stay quiet. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes we start this fire. Sometimes it's a big fire. And my grandfather used to say this. He used to have a quote. If you don't ever get yourself into a situation, you never have to worry about getting yourself out of a situation. But that's why you got to watch your tongue. Sometimes it's better not to say anything. When somebody asks you a question, sometimes it's better not to ask. I remember being a young man, and me and my friends and my sisters would always ask my friends, "What'd y'all do last night?" And they would never say. They always look at me and say, because we were always doing something. We were out there. We were not good kids. Let's put it that way. We were good, but we were just mischief. And it was better not to say anything because we didn't want to get in trouble. Well, the same thing with your tongue. He says you shouldn't be cussing. You shouldn't be letting things come out of your mouth. He said it's kind of funny. He said you'll see this with people, and I see this with Christians. They'll say something really just provocative, come out of their mouths, and they're Christians. Well, this James chapter 3 talks about this. You shouldn't be cursing with one with your tongue and then praising God the next minute. It doesn't work like that. He said, it says sweet water shouldn't come out of sour water. In other words, it shouldn't be trash coming out of your mouth. It's more or less what he was saying. So sometimes we need to just stay silent. Sometimes it's better to just watch our tongue, not start a fire, not say something rude to somebody, just because we know sometimes people push us, but sometimes it's better just to stay quiet.